DMT, or N,N-dimethyltryptamine, is the most powerful and intense psychedelic compound of the tryptamine family. The molecule is related to serotonin and melatonin in structure, and it is an analog to them. DMT is also an analog of other psychedelic tryptamines such as 4-ACO-DMT and 4-HO-DMT, which is mushrooms. Throughout history, it has been used by indigenous Amazonian Indian cultures in the form of ayahuasca for the purposes of healing and divination. When smoked, it produces instant powerful effects which catapult the user into what is described as an alternate dimension full of landscapes and entities and spirits. This experience lasts about 5 to 10 minutes. There is one of many bizarre phenomenon that seems to take place, which is the disproportionately large occurrences of jester or clown entities, as well as the environmental archetype of the carnival or circus. Many people have been reporting experiences of interacting with jesters, jokers, or clowns inside what feels like a circus environment that's described as a warping funhouse with a clown vibe to it.
I mean, I think I mentioned at some point, just briefly, that the archetype of DMT is the circus. These things are clowns at one level. They're clowns. I mean, when you think of the circus, it's a very complex archetype. The circus is for children. It's a delight. But then, you know, and you go to a circus and there are 3 rings and absurd clown antics going on. But then you lift your eyes up to the top of the tent, and there the lady in the tiny spangled costume is hanging by her teeth.
Using that torch just lit that shit up. I have no idea how long I was gone for. But things were very carnival. They were very clown-like. Jester-like, yes.
I was so overwhelming that I just broke into this place that was like this dude was, it was almost like the only way I could describe this guy was like a clownish guy, like a ringleader. He reminded me of a ringleader in a freaking circus, and he was just running around and just dancing, singing ooh da da sa ma da, ooh da da sa na ma da.
Possibly, but why does everyone get elves?
Well, what's the spirit of DMT?
Well, quite. This is an interesting question. Like, is it a praying mantis? Is it an elf? I don't know.
It's a joker.
These mysterious archetypes are not a new idea, as Carl Jung has been credited in conceiving something like this through his theory of the collective unconscious. The collective unconscious is the structures of the unconscious mind which are similar among species which are the same. The collective unconscious is composed of archetypes and instincts. This includes universal symbols such as the Great Mother, the Wise Old Man, the Shadow, the Trickster, and more. Evidence for Carl Jung's theories have been criticized for not being scientifically rigorous enough, as there haven't been very many testable scenarios for this theory. And I will explain how this video's phenomenon could hold some type of new testable evidence. Carl Jung grouped archetypes like the fool, the clown, the jester, the magician, all under the main archetype, which is the trickster. The trickster is a god, yet he is not. He is a wise fool. He exists to question and appears when a way of thinking becomes outdated and needs to be rebuilt into something better. The trickster has been a source of amusement all the way back to the days where he could still be recognized in the carnival figures of Pulcinella and the clown, or the Native American tribes Lakota or Pueblo, who have sacred ritual clowns in their tribes. Pueblo clowns refer to jesters or tricksters in the Kachina religion practiced by the Pueblo Indians of the southwestern USA. The trickster indulges in all sorts of pranks and jokes. James Lewis, in his book, The Dream Encyclopedia, says the trickster is not evil. even though the activity he engages in is often unpleasant. These activities actually bring attention to our own hidden intellectual weaknesses, shame or lies. Throughout my investigations, I've encountered countless of reports of people meeting jesters and clowns inside the DMT trip. One way this phenomenon could be useful in proving Carl Jung's ideas, and which also ties into the theories of another person known as Rupert Sheldrake. This idea of his is called Morphic Resonance, and it could come into play in this phenomenon. The Morphic Resonance hypothesis suggests that memory is inherent in nature, in that natural systems such as pigeons or termite colonies inherit a collective memory from all previous things of their kind. Sheldrake proposes that this is responsible for telepathy-type interconnections between organisms. So it is essentially a pathway for species to send information to inherit behaviors through some ineffable, non-local connection. Evidence for something like this, as well as the collective unconscious, could be found by doing a simple experiment. Suppose you found an untouched Indonesian tribe, or some sort of civilization that has never heard of clowns, jesters, or circuses, and you dose them all with DMT, and then prepare the group with pictures depicting clowns and circus imagery, and ask them if it is familiar to them, and if they recognize it, because if they do recognize it, and they do see jesters and clowns without the cultural reference for it, then it would be a mystery as to why clowns would show up in their visions, because they lack the information to produce the archetypes. But if they see it, then you would have to determine how the cultural reference could have developed inside them without ever witnessing it. This would truly be a game changer, in my opinion.
Subscribe.